Hello and welcome to the Chesapeake Today Show. It's your Executive Director, David Loop.
And Candace Montgomery, Director of Life Enrichment.
Candace, we are heading into this preschool season.
Oh my gosh.
And but again, a lot of activities revving up. Last week, a lot of good fun.
Yes.
You were giving me a nice update. We were talking briefly about Motivational Monday.
Yes, it was very intergenerational, I would say, the entire event. So we had Caitlin, who's our health fitness specialist, has a connection with this homeschool group that is varying in ages. It was really interesting to see that there was like from a 5-year-old to I want to say he was like 11 that played different instruments. And they did several performances for us, so kind of the beginning and the end of the event. And then they were able to take part in activities with residents, so that's always sweet to see. And then we had our friends from Newport News Police Department. They had 28 of their new recruits come out and join in an assortment of activities. They really wanted to just come and get to know the community, one, and then two, interact with residents, team members. So I know Isaiah was down there and one of the recruits just wanted to get up and sing. And so Barbara Smith joined on the piano and they just had their little duo going. So everybody had a really good time. And I think a lot of residents didn't know what to expect. And I kind of just kept telling them, it's just a meet and greet, really. It's just a conversation, get to know them, see what their kind of ongoing community projects are. And they had a really good time. The recruits did. I don't think they knew what to expect either. So yeah, I love when we can see just events like that where we see so many different generations and such a variety.
Neat.
So it was a lot of fun.
So great way to start last week.
I know.
And then, other things went into Thursday, of course, Resident Council meeting, always interactive, very enjoyable for that.
Yeah.
Iron Chef.
Oh my gosh, Iron Chef, which is always so popular. This year we even expanded our numbers. We had an extra 20 people that we accommodated, and some hot leads with marketing, which was nice for them to have a table. And of course our resident helpers, duo, tag team on the two different competing teams is always a hoot, for sure.
So Tyler and Justin.
Yes.
Obviously two of our wonderful cooks, so appreciate their role.
Yeah.
And they were then matched up with what residents?
So we have the Furmans, and then we have a unique duo of Jenny Smith and Cindy Hogan, which, between the two of them, just in stitches the whole time.
Absolutely. Wonderful.
Yes.
Well, very neat. And, I think the menus and what they had prepared, I know we're reviewing it here and thinking back to just very nice.
It's always kind of interesting to see what their take is on it, between the two, because of course they have similar things, like they've got the beef tenderloin, but just the different tweaks to it are fascinating.
And then taking what they did with that beef, and of course the shrimp as an appetizer, but then one more into the potato, one more into risotto on their starch. So just fun. So again, it's one of those things that for those who were able to enjoy it, I know it was pleasant. Those not just will continue to look at things like this and how to expand them and give others an opportunity to go. So neat event and just fun to have that spirited competition.
Oh yeah.
And again, a little bit of bragging rights, but Tyler and Justin both excellent men. So appreciate that.
And it's been fun to see just from even last year of just kind of the competition that's been amongst the kitchen of who's going to be entered to win this time. And it really put them in the ball in their court of the creativity. What are you going to come up with? Because that's how Julian kind of decides.
Yeah.
He has maybe like 4 individuals and they all have to submit something and then he picks the top 2.
Nice.
So it's neat to see their own competition and spark some creativity, and they have their own fun.
Great.
Yeah.
So that's, I think from this week's standpoint, of course, the flurry of activity around campus and trying to stay pace with the construction and renovation and all the things exterior, but okay.
Yeah.
Last week, just a little bit cooler temperature, just some
I
delightful days
know.
compared to the rain we had week prior to that.
And that you opening your door and not being hit with that humidity.
Yeah.
I like that aspect.
Yeah.
So what, we had like maybe 80s,
Yeah.
early 70s a little bit in the
Yeah.
morning.
So very pleasant. So we hope
Nice
to
to
see
see.
more of that and keep some of those hurricane and tropical storms at bay for a while.
For sure, most definitely.
So this week, what do we have to look forward
The
to?
week of the 19th, oh my goodness, one week left, full week of August. So the week of the 19th, of course, Hand Chimes is still going on for their practice session, so 7 p.m. This is where they picked back up, so they took a little break. So I know Barbara Howell is really looking for some new volunteers. So the only thing that she has said that you have to be able to do is read music. Everything else she'll teach you. And she puts kind of information out there if it's not as intimidating as it seems, because it's really, you just have the bells, but it's complicated in some ways. But she's a really good instructor. So if you're interested in participating in that, definitely reach out to Barbara Howell. She is looking for at least 2 volunteers with that. So they've got their practice in the Chesapeake Room at 7 p.m. Monday. And then Tuesday, going to Hot Dog King. Have you been to Hot Dog King?
Never.
Oh my gosh, you have to.
Yeah.
It's a staple in this area.
Yeah, and I remember one of our team members who worked there in her high school years and
Really?
always told this
Okay.
story about it.
Yes.
I haven't been there. And they also have hot dogs with like a coney sauce, right? Or chili sauce?
Yes,
'Cause
a wide variety.
That's a favorite of mine. So
And they have, it's very old school in there, which is always fun. And they use those old plates that are like the multicolored plates that are plastic. You know what I'm talking about? And they'll do cheese fries, and they have these funnel cake fries that are really good with different types of dipping sauce.
and it's what do you think? It's been around 40, 50 years or
Oh
more.
my gosh. Probably more than that, honestly.
So residents probably know this, and they would know the exact trivia.
Oh,
In fact,
they
I
would
wonder if
know, I'm
any
sure.
resident had a first date there.
Oh, I bet.
Ooh, that could be an interesting.
And their prices are still pretty good, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of like Smitty's Better Burger down in, Fox Hill, Hampton area. It's one of those staples. They might have been around the same time. It's a good
Interesting.
trivia.
Smitty Burgers. Good. to
Have
know
you
that
been
one, too.
there?
No.
Oh, my
But see, when you
word.
say that,
Come
it brings
on.
back memories that I had a Smitty's or Smith. Yeah, I think it was Smitty's in Elyria, Ohio.
Really?
So what is? So first, let me just stay on the focus of hot dogs.
I know we've gotten so off
All right.
track.
So with hot dogs, are they just regular size? Do they do any foot longs, or what is the size?
I think they do have a foot long, but it's more so just the regular and the different varieties of things that you can
Put on it.
put on it.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Boiled, grilled. What do you think? How do they make
I'd say
it?
boiled.
Okay. And then the sauces and everything makes it to personality. It sounds like those sides they have pretty
Chili cheese,
Yeah,
onions, whatever.
cool.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I remember Dairy Queen was my
Oh, yeah.
first chili dog. Loved it.
Okay.
Oh my gosh. And it was in Chillicothe, Ohio. Typically, I probably had enough coins in my pocket to get a regular hot dog.
Coins.
Once in a while.
I wish it still
Yeah,
cost
coins. I'm saying that because I'm dating myself. Once in a while, maybe I get a foot long.
Okay.
Oh. And then later in life, when I moved to Cincinnati, Ohio,
Mm-hmm.
and they have all these chili parlors in Cincinnati,
Oh.
more chili parlors than any place in the country.
Interesting.
But their chili is based on more of a Macedonia Greek recipe, all these different
Okay.
spices. I made it here before. And they'll put it over spaghetti, or they put it over mini hot dogs.
Oh.
They actually have manufactured these little hot dogs. They're like half sizes on a little bun, half size, and they put a scoop of this chili sort of over it, and then cheese.
Interesting.
Or they'll do onions, or some do mustard chili onions. I was like,
that's
"Nah,
interesting.
mustard, I can't do that one.
Yeah.
But that's a Cincinnati cheese coney,
Wow.
and so Skyline chili and all those. So
Oh my gosh.
I have to now go to 2 places. I am
Yes.
intrigued.
Oh my goodness, because Smitty's is of course a drive-in, situation, so that's
Okay.
always fun where they come out. Have you been to Dumars in Norfolk?
Nope.
Oh my word, because that was the place of the first like waffle cone, ice
Okay.
cream cone. That's a drive-in. It's similar to that. So I was just saying that it's Smitty's. is
Sounds
not
like,
like it.
what an interesting road trip. Maybe
I
need to
know,
go
I
on,
really
is
think
let's
that
just
I
hit all
need to
3
do
of them.
that.
Let's be on a progressive. Let's educate David,
Yes.
and there are other new residents. I think about our residents who
my
moved in from out of state.
gosh.
Maybe we need to have a trip that just let's. It's an afternoon of local traditions,
Yes, staples of the
yeah.
area. Oh my word.
and then some of us won't be embarrassed that we haven't tried it.
I'm surprised with
Good.
you, especially
Yeah.
how long you've lived here.
Yeah,
Try those little
7
places.
years, and I do a lot. But then again, when I have a really good cook at home, and I'll
Well, that's
we
true.
we sort of but
I like
will try 'em.
those blasts from the past, though. Like, I
Yeah.
love the drive-ins. It's just a different feel.
Yeah.
You know, it
I
kind
know
of slows
when
you
I
down.
go to
and-
Akron, Ohio, my daughter and son-in-law, they always go to Swenson's, and it's the same thing. It's
Yeah.
a great place,
just
great
fun.
burger. Yeah. So at Smitty's, is it like a quarter pounder? Is it more like a Big Mac? What type of hamburger is it?
So it's called their Better Burger, and it's probably maybe a hybrid of the two, I would say.
Okay.
I wouldn't say it's like a smash burger type, so somewhere in the middle. But they have a wide variety of things. Of course, they have hamburgers, hot dogs. Their burgers are what they're famous for, but they also have these fried chicken dinner things that are really good. It's like cooked to order, so it's not anything that they keep out, so
Yeah.
you have to wait a little bit for it. Man, we must be hungry because we're really
Yeah, we're talking.
Because I'm like,
we're
man,
talking
this
food.
sounds
Isaiah,
really
he's already
good.
left. He's out for
I
lunch now.
know.
So we're good. So
But yeah,
that's
it's fun.
all right. So keep going through
I
the
know.
week. We're done. We
I'm like,
talked
my
food.
stomach is growling now.
Yeah.
So 12 o'clock, going to Gus's Hot Dog King on Tuesday, leaving from the Hampton entrance. Caregiver support group, 2 p.m. in the Harbor Room. And then on Wednesday, of course, we have our mobile library here at 10:30 a.m. Right in front of the cafe. I want to put a little plug here because I know our friends with the Yorktown Library that come. They've had a few folks who haven't been returning their books in a timely manner, so be sure, double check that you have a book for them and not possibly, because I know sometimes they return it to our library and then we kind of have to work through that. So be sure that you know which one belongs to the outside group and our inside group. Our most popular trip every month, of course, going to Rosie's. So leaving at 11 a.m., going to the Hampton entrance. Apparently Rosie's has a really good burger. I keep hearing this from residents, from Isaiah. So I haven't been to Rosie's, but so that's on me to do my homework to check out that spot. And then that afternoon, you've got a coffee, 1 p.m., Coffee with David, Zoom meeting. And then Uwe has a basic and intermediate German in the Explorer Room at 3. On the 22nd, which is Thursday, we've got our Catholic prayer service, 9:30 a.m. in the Harbor Room. Taking a trip to Aldi's at 11 a.m. at the Hampton entrance. We've been trying to switch it up. We've done Whole Foods, Aldi's, Trader Joe's. Of course, we do Kroger's, things like that. But we've really been trying to shake up kind of the different grocery spots that we go to, giving folks a variety of things that they can choose from, different price points. Town Hall, it's that time again already, 2 p.m., Chesapeake Room. Of course, we have our birthday bash that evening with Vinnie Knight. She's always so popular. That'll be a lot of fun, 7 p.m. And then on Friday, going to Uno's Pizzeria and Grill, 11:30 from the Hampton entrance.
Good.
Yeah, they have
And
a good pizza.
Uno's is the one there by Kroger's,
Yes,
near to my house.
Kiln Creek, yeah.
I don't think I've ever been there.
Oh, my word.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of restaurants I've gone to and tried, but maybe
Well,
Not
you've been to
as
places
many.
that have the authentic deep dish, so
Yeah,
that's not
yeah.
as maybe as appealing to you to
Yeah.
have Uno's version.
yeah, because there's Uno's and there's Dos, and Lou Malinotti's and all the places I went to in Chicago where you get their deep dish,
Oh my
which is very
gosh.
different.
I'm sure
Yep,
it's so
good.
That's the week.
A good week.
Yeah,
Wonderful.
I know.
Well, we'll continue to see some great progress here about the community with different things. Getting that explore, well, no, we're calling it the theater multi-purpose room in assisted living.
Yes.
Getting that sort of opened back up. And some of the remodeled rooms in assisted living, we will temporarily use our existing furniture or old Chesapeake room chairs or whatever that are very nice. They work well because we really focus most of the deliveries coming in October, sort of midway of all the renovations. And then from there, of course, we'll get all the new stuff out, et cetera. But we'll keep you attuned to that. But it's progressing nicely. And before we know it, in a couple weeks here, we'll be starting over in healthcare. So that's
right.
sort of the first part of September is when those renovations will begin.
Okay. We still think it's going to be a good timeline before Christmas at the Chesapeake?
Everything I'm hearing still
Okay.
very positive.
Good.
So good there.
Excellent. That'll
Yeah.
be nice.
So-
yeah.
So that's good. We'll be, probably between now, maybe town hall, really think about some, next discussions and maybe some announcements about Gloucester Commons. And that will be some fun things to share. So that's there. And, I haven't heard him speak yet about it, but it won't be long until Bruce is mapping out his trip to Massachusetts
I know.
and Boston to get his lobsters.
I thought about that this morning. It's coming up quick.
Yeah.
It's like once we hit this last week in August, it's a fast track to all those big annual things.
Yeah.
So that'll be fun. We have a lot of new team members too that I think they'll really want to take part and volunteer this year. So it'll be fun to see who gets involved this time.
Yeah.
You know, leaders and all the folks who have
Yeah.
to get their instructions on how to operate all
Yeah.
the utensils.
Yeah.
But it's fun for sure.
Good. So, just again, a lot of joy, a lot of neat things. Thanks for sharing, and for others to hear about that Motivational Monday, because that was neat to hear about all that interaction and the different intergenerational as well as the police. So neat to
Most
hear that.
definitely, yes.
So, from my standpoint, I know we got a very interesting interview today. One of our nurses is so passionate about her role as a nurse and really as a caregiver, and I think you hear a lot from her heart as to her opportunities here, her goals, and helping us with both education and infection control and
Great.
many roles. So, Amber Hughes will be our special interview today.
Perfect.
So,
Excellent.
if we're ready to sign off, we'll do so and say until next time.
All right, we'll see you.
Hello and welcome back to the Chesapeake Today Show. Got a special interview. In fact, one of our newer team members, Amber Hughes. Amber, welcome.
Thank you.
Amber's role, and I've used this term, I've said it so many different times, and help me if I mispronounce, but infection preventionist.
Correct.
Am I close? Amber is an RN. She is a nurse, and here now to be our specialist when it comes to infection control issues. So Amber, first of all, just welcome to you.
Thank you.
And, over the last few weeks, I've had several opportunities to sit down and get to know you, and you will find out this is just a very joyful woman, extraordinarily creative, very thoughtful, and you have some hidden talents that I'm learning more and more about every day. So, how's your first few weeks been here? What do you think of the Chesapeake so far?
It's very big. It's very inviting, warm, welcoming. Everyone seems to be ready to help. So it's it's a good choice. It's a good move.
Well, we're glad you're here, and I know as you and I talk, and so many of our others, and residents can relate to this. Businesses, some have duplicate positions, and you've got this. You have a group that can come in and can train and get you all set up, and there's succession and all this, and then here in the Life Plan community like the Chesapeake, we have a large number of positions that are like one position, one person. And this is clearly for you. So you've had to navigate,
Yes.
tolerate, be joyful and figuring out so much on your own, but it's tapping into your skill sets. And again, I just appreciate for all of us, because sort of same thing happened for me. Nobody was in my seat when I arrived. I had to forge my way. And that's sort of true for Life Plan communities, but
Yes.
you're doing a great job.
I'm a very autonomous person, so
That is-
self-starter. I don't expect somebody to tell me you have to do X, Y, and Z. I'll just figure it out. If I have a question, I ask. If they don't know, we'll figure it out, or I'll do
That's
the
right.
research and
Being that problem
find
solver
what I need to do.
and with infection control and all the dynamics in today's world, how important. Well, before we get down to some of those specifics to your job, residents love hearing about our team members. A little bit of your background. Where are you originally from? What do you like to share about your early life?
Born and raised in Suffolk, Virginia. Been here all my life. My mom's from Carolina, North Carolina. My dad is from Kansas City, Kansas, so we're huge Kansas City Chiefs fans. So we get a little crazy around football season. I've had a lot of changes this past year. So I started my career in healthcare when I was 19. I went to school for the first time to be a registered invasive cardiovascular specialist to help people essentially that were having heart attacks or different things, had heart disease, help assist with doctors putting stents in hearts, whether it was a critical emergency or not. And I got into that because my grandfather, who was my best friend, passed away when I was 12. So I was trying to find a way to kind of help give back from that aspect so other little kids didn't have to lose their grandparent or anyone kind of lose a loved one from that aspect. That's a very specialized degree and certification. So I decided after doing that for about 7 years that I kind of wanted to branch out because RNs could work in the cath lab, but specific cath lab technologists could not go outside of the cath lab. So I started and decided that I was just going to go get my RN to kind of broaden my horizons. And I thought that I was going to do critical care or something along ER, something like that, because I like kind of fast pace, always being busy. I'm not really a slow sit around kind of person. And then we had a horrible experience with my mom's mom on hospice. She was battling Alzheimer's for 9 years, from the I forgot where my keys are to I don't know who you are. And that experience impacted me so much that I said, nope, I'm going into hospice, because my thought process is there's a lot of things in healthcare that you could get a do-over. I mean, it's not right to ever do anything wrong, but, you know, you do the wrong surgery or you do the wrong medication or the wrong treatment process or something, you can say, okay, wait, this didn't work. Let's try this again. Let's do something else. Hospice, they only die once. You only give them one chance to get the end-of-life experience that they deserve. And that can make or break someone's future with how they look at hospice and what it is. And it's really designed to be a beautiful process that is free. And it's not designed to be something that's for the last few days of life and you give them medicine and they die. So I really developed a passion after getting into hospice and being in it for the last 10 years to really educate the community to understand what hospice truly is, the benefits that it offers, and that it really can be a beautiful process, and it's really not like as bad as everyone thinks that it is. Yes, it does revolve around death, but you know, in most cultures, really, death is a positive aspect. It's really only the United States that views it as something very negative. And I've actually got to do a lot of cultural learning and be a part of a lot of cultural ceremonies in hospice as well. So I've really liked that aspect of things.
Well, I hear this passion and obviously a wonderful experience, driven in part by, well, 2 family members, and just witnessing that. So it sounds like, you know, beyond your work here with infections, you know, there is so much tied to our residents' journey. And, you know, we have residents who are very interested in ongoing education. I know residents are very interested in learning more about palliative care, about hospice, and you know, it just sounds like as an added contribution you could make is being a part of a speaker circuit we have in Chesapeake University. We do occasional classes for residents, and you know, just an aside, in addition to all the things you can educate us on infection control, etc., you know, tie into that passion as well.
Yeah,
So-
I love to teach. That's kind of, I've been a director in hospice, trying to bring up the newbies in the field to do things the right way. And with all the changes that I've had going on the last year, almost losing both my parents at the same time, losing my dad right before Christmas, into having a new grandbaby in February, marrying my best friend in March, and then some health issues of my own, which was pretty much, I feel like God trying to tell me you can't keep at the pace that you're going, working 60, 70 hours a week and doing all of that. I kind of said, all right, I'm going to start, you know, looking for something. And every time it's just like, it was weird. You know, sometimes you scroll on your phone and then it'll like reset to a certain part of the page. Every time I was trying to scroll through Indeed to go to a different area, it would always reset it back to like the job for the Chesapeake. So I felt like it was trying to tell me like, no, this is the one. So, and it did. And it was like, I originally applied for a different position, but they were like, but we really think that you would be great at this one too. So it was just, it's been a great experience.
Absolutely. Well,
and I have a much better work-life balance. Like, I'm much less stressed. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong. There's days where it's like,
We're
I
always
mean, it's
busy.
always going to be
Absolutely.
busy and stuff,
Good.
but it's a different, it's a good stress.
Yeah.
It's a good, I get to go home at the end of the day. I actually enjoy dinner with my family, have my weekends to see my grandbaby. So, I
And
mean,
those
I
are the
really
work-life
couldn't ask
balances that
for,
our residents want us to all have. So unbelievable. Well, hearing of that story helps us to appreciate who you are. So thank you. Thank you for sharing that. So what are some of the joys? What do you do for fun, pleasure? You got a new grandbaby. What are some things that you like to do, and a little bit about your, personal interest?
well, I'm a huge sports fanatic. Growing up, I played 4 sports: basketball, softball, volleyball. Well, no, I played 3 sports: basketball, softball, volleyball. And then I got out of that. I actually had a full ride softball scholarship to Indiana State University. Didn't take it though. And I tried to spend time with the family, really. The honest answer is I haven't had a lot of time to do any extracurricular
So
activities
maybe
because
now
I've worked
some
so
new
much.
things will come about.
So, aside from watching football, I mean, I really like to do math and logic puzzles. I know it sounds like I'm a dork, but I love math. I love the logic puzzles, math puzzles, kind of games on my phone that I have to do. Something that makes me think, it helps me relax. I do that to shut my brain off at night before I go to bed. I love true crime. So any of that stuff on Investigation Discovery, anything like that, like love all of that. Husband and I watch kinds of shows like that, kind of thriller series and things. So I really want to start traveling. That's been a big thing of mine. The first vacation I ever took in my life was to Vegas to go get married in March. I'm almost 40, so I feel like that's pretty sad.
Well, it's just an opportunity.
Never been out
Travel
of the
can be in the
country.
future.
So that's my goal now that I have this, and my child is grown, and I have a grandbaby, and all that, to be able to start traveling. So our first big trip, we planned our honeymoon in October.
Great.
So we're going to Cancun, and so I'm gonna start doing some of the things that I feel like I have missed out on because all I've done is work.
Yeah,
So
well, it's good to be
I'm
able to
gonna learn
reset
some
those
things.
those opportunities, priorities, and so I think you mentioned. So your husband's name is Ben.
Will.
Will. So need to start new adventures and experiencing that, and the fact that you able to marry your best friend, that's impressive.
Yes.
Good. So when it comes to infection control, infection prevention, I know that you've been able to help us with some updated flyers and communications to help residents and getting that out, because it's definitely a certain message that we have to share with our independent residents and their lives. And then we have our team members and our higher levels of care and certain regulatory factors there. So a lot happening. You've done some great job on those communications.
Thank you.
So what's your early take on really just what's ahead of you? What do you see as next steps with infection prevention? What are some ideas to help us get better?
Well, I really want to be able to have time with each of our departments that we have so that I can have more individualized education sessions with each of the departments and team members versus just like a big email or a flyer. So I can explain things more, go into more detail, be able to introduce myself, let everyone kind of know who I am, when they should be contacting me, what they should be contacting me about. And then I also want to set up, I have an idea to do info about the different types of vaccines that we're going to have coming up soon, because we're going to do some vaccine clinics and what the diseases are related to the vaccine, and then some of the statistics related to that from the CDC, because I just did a webinar on all of that had some really great information and the updated guidelines that pertain to that as well. So I feel like that'll be great, considering we're about to enter flu season and respiratory disease season. And we have a very vulnerable population.
Yeah.
And then I just really want to try and, review all our protocols and just make as much cheat sheets as I can for things, and kind of have like maybe a whole infection control cheat sheet book that can be left at like
So
a
those
lot
fun
of the
facts and important ones to
nurses
know.
stations and stuff for team members as far as that stuff goes, but then kind of maybe make a little booklet or something of cheat sheet stuff or different things that we could have for like a resident version as well. Just some things that, because reading a policy, it's all in big terms that sometimes can be confusing. Even me reading stuff, I have to read it a few times to be like, okay, did I get the wording right? So if we can just kind of sum it up, make things more layman's terms, a little bit easier, a little bit prettier to read, then I feel like maybe that can kind of help with some things across the board. And then I found some pretty fun activities related to infection control that I've already talked with Michelle over in healthcare about setting up with some of the residents and getting on her calendar to do some of those as one of their activities. And it kind of correlates to infection control. So I can do some education and a fun activity with them at the same time to kind of get them involved.
And that's a great way of doing it with that activity. So with independent living residents, for the most part, watching this show, any updates, we're going to have as you said, flu fall season, we're going to have the flu vaccination. And is there any current recommendations on COVID? Are we encouraging residents just to make sure they're talking to their personal physicians to understand their next routine for a COVID vaccination or update?
So I do have the updated guidelines on that I can actually share. So they're actually coming out with the updated vaccine for the fall. And it's recommended that everyone get it, anyone age 2 and above, I believe. But anyone in our population is recommended to get it. There are a few things that would exclude you. If you have had a previous COVID shot or booster in the last 6 months, you're not eligible to have another one within the 6 months.
Okay.
And if you've tested COVID positive in the last 3 months from the date of when you're getting the vaccine.
Okay. So good for people to know. I know once there was talk from the manufacturers of trying to create a blended regular flu vaccine, and then we have the COVID vaccine. Any updates on that, or would there be multiple vaccinations that residents would be eligible for this fall?
It'll be multiple. So I know what we're planning on doing is having 3 separate dates roughly for a flu clinic, because we have all of those vaccines already on order, and then working with an outside pharmacy to come in on one of those days that we're having the flu clinic to also do COVID as well. So Octavia and I are going to be getting together, and we're I've actually have an idea for an electronic version of not really a flyer, but it's a form,
Almost like a
a
registration
survey.
form? Okay.
Yes, for them to do. We're just have to figure out some logistics
So will
of putting it
residents-
together. And then it can kind of survey us to kind of give us our numbers, and it'll automatically compute our data for us versus having to count each paper form.
Yeah.
So we're going to be working on that very soon to be able to get with all of the independent residents so that they can be able to get the information if they plan to get it from us or if they plan to get it from their doctor's office. Of course, we would recommend them coming to us, but obviously they're free to get it wherever they would like to.
Whichever is their best choice. And as you said, some timing issues may dictate it if they happen to have that COVID or vaccination within 6 months. So is it likely that individuals could come on a date this fall and get 2 vaccinations on the same day, or do they have to be spread apart?
Nope, they can all be given at the same time. I'm actually looking into seeing what we can do about doing RSV on the same day that we do the COVID.
So that could be 3 then.
So they could get all 3 in the same day. I just have to, I know we're going to do flu and COVID. I just have to see if what availability we have to do the RSV as well, because there's updated guidelines on that as well. And it was just answered in our CDC webinar the other day that it is recommended that we just give them all at the same time in the
Okay.
same sitting. So
Good to know. That's great for me to be able to repeat as well. So thank you there. Well, Amber, good to know you. Get to hear about your passion in the work and what you've done in your career. I'll remember this fall, whenever the Chiefs win. I know it will be a happy day for you.
Yes.
And with current successes, they've had a lot of wins.
Yes.
So I do that. But good to know you're a sports enthusiast as well. And again, that grandbaby, enjoy that child.
Yes.
So precious. So thank you for being a part of the show today.
course.
And for all residents, thank you for listening in. Until next time, have a great week.